Word is, KSO's former getaway driver, Buddha, was just killed in prison. And honestly, no one's surprised. This is the same dude who straight up snitched on KSO in court for the murder of Lil Buck.
Because what you're telling this jury today is that you witnessed him speaking to Raekwon Howard that he was going to kill someone, right? It's like a confession, right?
Now his death is being linked right back to KSSO, and this could completely shake up the case. I've got all the details. Let's get into it. The snitch that broke the street code. We will get into how Butta's wings got clipped, but first, let's get a little recap of how the mess began in the first place. At the center of this street, drama sits Hakeem Robinson, better known in these streets as KSSO, a name that commands respect from day ones and strikes fear in the hearts of ops across the city. KSO is currently on trial alongside his affiliate Leroy Whitaker, also known as ATK Scotty, for the 2020 murder of Charles Lil Buck McCormick Jr., a rival rapper. This ain't just some random street beef that got out of hand. This is about honor, loyalty, and the deadly consequences of disrespecting the dead in your bars. The killing is tied to ongoing feuds between Jacksonville rap groups ATK, associated with KSOO, and KTA, associated with McCormick, stemming from a diss track McCormick allegedly made about Ksoo's brother, Willie Addison, who was killed in a drive-by shooting a year earlier. In the hood, talking about a dead homie in your raps isn't just disrespectful, it's a death sentence waiting to happen. The courtroom was packed with family members, street soldiers, and media vultures, all waiting to see how this drama would unfold. The trial, which began in late July 2025, features testimony from Dominique Buddha Barner, the confessed getaway driver, who has turned state's witness as part of a plea deal. The tension in that room was thicker than morning fog in the trap house. Everybody knew they were about to witness some real street theater. Dominique Buddha Barner. That name alone was enough to make real to shake their heads in disgust. This 31-year-old hood veteran had built his reputation in Jacksonville's trenches, earning respect as a reliable soldier who could handle business when things got hot. But now he found himself in the most despicable position any street could imagine, sitting across from his former day ones, ready to tell all their business to save his own skin.
So, because we didn't specifically ask you if there was a specific phone call from Raekwon Howard, you didn't think at that time it was relevant to let us know that?
Under his plea agreement, Barner pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in a related case, the killing of Damon Rothermel during an attempted hit, and could receive a reduced sentence of 20 years instead of life in exchange for his cooperation. 20 years versus life. That's the kind of math that makes even the realest street soldiers reconsider their loyalty when the feds come knocking. The stakes in this courtroom drama couldn't have been higher for anyone involved. For KSO and Whitaker, this trial represented the difference between maintaining their street credibility and spending the rest of their natural lives locked up behind enemy lines. For Barner, it was his golden ticket out of a life sentence and back to his baby mama and kids before he got too old to enjoy freedom. For the victims' families, it was their shot at justice in a system that had failed them time and time again.
Don't know.
They knew though.
The state knew how important that statement was, right? Because what you're telling this jury today is that you witnessed him speaking to Raekwon Howard that he was going to kill someone, right? It's like a confession, right?
When Barner, age 31, testified on day 3 of the trial, July 26, 2025, that he served as the driver in a stolen Nissan Altima during the events leading to McCormick's death, the entire courtroom went silent. You could hear a pin drop as this man prepared to violate every unwritten rule of street loyalty that had governed his life up to that moment. This wasn't just testimony. It was a complete betrayal of everything the streets had taught him about keeping your mouth shut and doing your time like a man. The transformation of Dominique Barner from trusted street soldier to government witness represents one of the most devastating betrayals in Jacksonville's street history. He admitted to initially lying to police in depositions and under oath, which defense attorneys used to challenge his credibility, labeling him a paid assassin responsible for multiple crimes. The defense wasn't just attacking his credibility, they were painting a picture of a cold-blooded killer who would sell his own mama to avoid dying in prison.
You didn't think that was relevant to tell the lawyers for Hakeem Robinson?
It's relevant, but I don't know.
As Barner began breaking down the events leading up to that fatal day in January 2020, the courtroom was getting a rare glimpse into how real street business gets handled. Planning the murder, Barner stated that Ksoo wanted to kill McCormick in retaliation for the diss track. Barner researched McCormick's address using the Duval County Clerk of Court website. He, Ksoo, Whitaker, and Ksoo's brother Abdul Robinson Jr. initially drove by McCormick's apartment to scout the location. The level of planning that went into this hit was some real organized crime type shit. These weren't just some hot-headed young niggas acting on emotion, they were conducting surveillance, doing research, and plotting like seasoned hitmen. Using official court websites to track down their targets showed a level of street intelligence that went way beyond typical hood beefs. This was calculated, methodical, and executed with the precision of soldiers who understood that sloppy work leads to life sentences. The details that emerged painted a picture of stone-cold killers who took their time and did their homework. On the day of the murder, January 15, 2020, the group waited outside McCormick's apartment for hours. When McCormick left, they followed him to a shopping plaza on Merrill Road. Barner described how the plan shifted. Ksoo, dressed in an outfit matching the shooter seen in dashcam footage, chased and shot McCormick multiple times after he exited a staffing agency. The image of these street soldiers posted up outside somebody's crib for hours, waiting patiently like hunters stalking their prey, shows the level of dedication they had to getting their revenge. This wasn't some drive-by shooting or a chance encounter that escalated. This was a full-scale hunting expedition with Charles McCormick as the target and his killers as predators who wouldn't stop until they got their man. What made Barner's snitching even more damaging was his honesty about what he didn't see. He did not witness the actual shooting as it occurred around a building corner, but heard the gunshots. A real snitch knows that admitting the limits of their knowledge makes the rest of their story seem more believable. The sound of those gunshots echoing off the buildings, knowing that somebody was getting their ticket punched just around the corner, those are the kind of details that stick with you forever. But the chaos that followed the murder showed that even the best planned hits can go sideways real quick. After the killing, Barner sped away with Ksoo and Whitaker, leading to a police chase and crash near Townsend Boulevard. They abandoned the car, leaving guns behind, and fled on foot. Barner and Whitaker then invaded a nearby woman's home, holding her hostage briefly to steal clothes. Barner admitted to assaulting her during this incident. The high-speed chase, the crashed whip, the abandoned burners, all evidence of a plan that had gone completely off the rails despite its initial success. But what really showed their desperation was running up in some innocent woman's house, terrorizing her just to get some clean clothes. That's the kind of move that separates real street soldiers from savage animals who have no code or honor. They were later picked up by Ksoo's father, Abdul Robinson Sr., known as Blue, and arrested for home invasion. The fact that family members got involved in helping them escape shows how deep this street life had penetrated their whole bloodline. This wasn't just about individual criminals. It was about entire families being consumed by a lifestyle that knows no boundaries and respects no limits. The confession that shattered the game. As Dominique Barner continued dropping dimes on his former homies, the courtroom was about to hear some shit that would send shockwaves through every trap house, corner store, and hood barbershop in Jacksonville. What came next was so explosive, so completely unexpected, that even the most seasoned street veterans were left wondering if this nigga had completely lost his mind, or if he was just making up stories to secure his freedom. In a revelation not previously disclosed to defense attorneys, despite 9 hours of prior questioning, Barner claimed Ksoo called Raekwon Howard, a member of McCormick's rival group, on the day of the crime to confess his intent to kill McCormick. Defense lawyers argued this was fabricated for the trial. The idea that Ksoo would call up somebody from the enemy camp to confess his murder plans had every real street in that courtroom looking at each other like this fool had to be lying. That's not how the game works. You don't call your ops to tell them you're about to slide on their homie. That's like calling the police yourself and giving them your government name before you commit the crime. The defense attorneys came at Barner's neck with the intensity of pit bulls protecting their territory. They knew this last-minute revelation could destroy their clients' lives, and they weren't about to let some lying snitch fabricate evidence without a fight. The cross-examination that followed was brutal, methodical, and designed to expose this story as the desperate lie of a man who would say anything to keep himself out of a life sentence.
Now, you're saying that that took place in the car. When was that phone call taken? Did that phone call that you witnessed?
We switched positions.
What do you mean before you switched positions?
We switched the spot.
So you're already in the parking lot. You weren't driving, right? You're already parked, right?
The defense was building their case brick by brick, forcing this snitch to commit to specific details that they could later tear apart. Every question was designed to trap Barner in his own lies and show the jury that his story was shakier than a dope fiend going through withdrawal. In the streets, your word is your bond. But in that courtroom, Barner's word wasn't worth the breath he was using to speak it.
And you said what kind of call was it? Was it a phone call, a FaceTime, Instagram? What was it?
Instagram.
How do you know it was Instagram?
Yes, it was.
Say what? You're guessing it was Instagram.
The fact that this nigga was guessing about crucial details of what should have been the most memorable moment of his criminal career showed everyone in that courtroom that he was straight up fabricating. If you really witnessed your homie confessing to murder, you damn sure remember whether he was on the phone, FaceTime, or sliding in somebody's DMs. The uncertainty in his voice was like music to the defense attorney's ears.
It's funny that you commit to Instagram as being a cop, right? That's what you chose, right? When you met with the state's attorney's office, did they show you any of Hakeem Robinson's Instagram? Well, it's his celebrity account. Did they show you any of his records from Instagram?
The defense was exposing a critical flaw in the prosecution's case that any real street nigga could see from a mile away. If this alleged Instagram confession had actually happened, there would be digital footprints, DM records, call logs, metadata that could back up Barner's claims. The fact that the prosecution couldn't produce any of this electronic evidence despite having access to Ksoo's social media accounts proved that this conversation was pure fiction. The cross-examination continued with surgical precision as the defense systematically destroyed every aspect of Barner's credibility. The way they were picking apart his testimony was like watching a master mechanic disassemble an engine. Every piece was being examined, questioned, and ultimately discredited. The alleged phone call itself violated every rule of street survival that any experienced hustler knows by heart. In the hood, you never put your business in writing, you never discuss plans over the phone, and you damn sure don't confess your intentions to people who might use that information against you. The idea that Ksoo would call Raekwon Howard, somebody from the rival set, to announce his murder plans was so tactically stupid that it immediately raised red flags about the testimony's authenticity. But what made this alleged confession even more unbelievable was the identity of the person Ksoo supposedly called. Raekwon Howard wasn't just some random from the neighborhood, he was affiliated with 6 Block, the enemy camp that was actively at war with ATK. Calling him to confess murder plans would be like a Crip calling up a Blood to announce his intentions to shoot up their block party. It just doesn't happen in the real world. The defense attorney's questioning revealed the fundamental impossibility of Barner's claims with devastating effectiveness. This wasn't just about inconsistencies in his story, it was about exposing the complete breakdown of logic that his testimony represented. Any street-smart individual would recognize the tactical insanity of such a move, and the defense was making sure the jury understood just how ridiculous Barner's claims really were. Forensic analysis backed parts of Barner's testimony. A digital forensics expert reviewed dashcam footage and ruled out Barner and Whitaker as the shooter based on body structure, but couldn't eliminate Ksoo as a suspect. So while some of Barner's claims were supported by hard evidence, his story about Ksoo's alleged confession remains unproven and highly questionable. Still, you know how it goes in rap. Snitch or not, consequences come fast. And word is, those consequences have already hit. We're just waiting on full confirmation. But Ksoo's trial isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a much bigger pattern tearing through the rap industry, where living what you rap about brings real-world consequences. From wiretaps to indictments to homies flipping for lighter sentences, the line between the studio and the courtroom is thinner than ever. And Ksoo? He's just the latest name caught in the crossfire between art and prosecution. The street rappers facing the music. The courtroom drama surrounding Ksoo's trial isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a much larger pattern that's been destroying the careers and lives of street rappers across the country. When you make music about real street business and live the life you rap about, eventually the feds come knocking with indictments, wiretaps, and cooperating witnesses ready to tell all your business. The intersection of hip-hop and street politics has created a deadly pipeline from the recording studio to the penitentiary. And Ksoo is just the latest casualty in a war between artistic expression and criminal prosecution. One of the most prominent examples of this phenomenon is Atlanta rapper Cash Out, whose real name is John Michael Hakeem Gibson. This brother had everything going for him: hit singles, major label deals, and a growing fan base that was feeling his authentic street narratives. His breakout single Cashin' Out put him on the map in 2011, and for a minute, it looked like he was about to transition from trap house to penthouse successfully, but the streets don't let you go that easily. Cash Out's rise in the music industry was paralleled by his continued involvement in street activities that eventually caught the attention of federal investigators. The same authenticity that made his music resonate with fans. The detailed knowledge of drug distribution, the references to real street operations, the connections to active criminal enterprises became the foundation for a federal prosecution that would derail his promising career. The feds had been building a case against Cash Out and his associates for years, using surveillance, wiretaps, and confidential informants to document their alleged involvement in a multi-state drug trafficking operation. possession. When the indictments finally came down, Cash Out found himself facing decades in federal prison, with prosecutors arguing that his rap career was essentially a front for laundering drug money and coordinating criminal activities. The case that really opened everyone's eyes to how the feds were targeting street rappers was the prosecution of Bobby Shmurda and his GS9 crew. Aquilajon Pollard, known to the world as Bobby Shmurda, went from viral sensation to federal defendant faster than most people could learn the words to hot nigga. His infectious energy and authentic Brooklyn street narrative made him an overnight star, but that same authenticity was built on real criminal activity that the feds had been monitoring for months. The GS9 conspiracy case was a masterclass in how federal prosecutors use RICO statutes to sweep up entire crews of street rappers and their associates. Bobby Shmurda, Rowdy Rebel, and nearly a dozen other members of their crew were indicted on charges ranging from conspiracy to commit murder to weapons possession and drug trafficking. The feds had wiretaps, surveillance footage, and cooperating witnesses ready to testify about the crew's alleged criminal activities. What made Bobby's case so shocking to the hip-hop community was how quickly his career trajectory changed. One day he was performing on late-night television and signing major label deals, and the next day he was in federal custody facing decades in prison. The transition from rising star to federal defendant happened so fast that it served as a wake-up call to every street rapper who thought they could keep one foot in the music industry and one foot in the streets. Bobby Shmurda ultimately accepted a plea deal that sent him to prison for 7 years, effectively ending his music career during what should have been his prime years. His case became a cautionary tale about the dangers of making music that's too authentic, too detailed, and too connected to actual criminal activity. Perhaps no case illustrates the tragic intersection of social media, hip-hop, and criminal prosecution better than that of Tay K, whose real name is Tamor Trayvon McIntyre. This young brother from Arlington, Texas, created one of the most viral rap songs of the 2010s while literally running from murder charges, turning his life as a fugitive into the foundation for a career that would be cut short by a life sentence. The Race wasn't just a catchy song, it was a real-time soundtrack to Tay K's life as a fugitive from justice. While on the run from capital murder charges, he recorded and released the track, which became a viral sensation and launched him to national prominence. The irony was devastating. He achieved the fame and recognition that most aspiring rappers dream of, but he did it while facing charges that would ultimately result in a 55-year prison sentence. Tay K's case showed how social media and streaming platforms could amplify the reach of street rappers, but also how those same platforms could provide evidence for prosecutors. Every Instagram post, every Snapchat story, every lyric in his songs was analyzed by investigators looking for clues about his whereabouts and his alleged involvement in multiple violent crimes. The prosecution painted Tay K as a cold-blooded killer who used his music career as a way to taunt law enforcement and celebrate his alleged crimes. His defense argued that he was a talented young artist whose life had been derailed by circumstances beyond his control, but the jury ultimately convicted him on multiple charges that will keep him in prison for the rest of his natural life. Kentrell. Deshaun Galden, better known as NBA Youngboy or Youngboy Never Broke Again, represents another example of how street credibility and music success can create a dangerous combination that attracts federal attention. This Baton Rouge native built one of the most successful independent rap careers of his generation, but his ongoing legal troubles have overshadowed his musical achievements and kept him under constant federal surveillance. Youngboy's case is particularly complex because it involves multiple jurisdictions, various charges, and a pattern of arrests that spans several years. From weapons charges to alleged involvement in violent crimes, his legal troubles have been as prolific as his musical output. The feds have been monitoring his activities, his associates, and his movements, with the kind of intensity typically reserved for major drug kingpins or organized crime figures. What makes Youngboy's situation unique is how he's managed to maintain his music career while navigating serious federal charges. House arrest, ankle monitors, and constant surveillance have become part of his daily reality, but he's continued to release music and maintain his connection with fans. His case shows how some artists can survive federal prosecution, but at the cost of their freedom and their ability to live normal lives. The prosecution has argued that Youngboy's music and social media presence are evidence of his continued involvement in criminal activity and his influence over violent street crews. His defense has maintained that he's an artist whose lyrics reflect his environment and experiences, not confessions of ongoing criminal behavior. The case remains ongoing, with his future hanging in the balance as federal prosecutors continue to build their case. Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr., known professionally as Pooh Shiesty, was one of the hottest rising stars in hip-hop when his career was derailed by federal charges that sent him to prison for over 5 years. The Memphis native had built a massive following with his authentic street narratives and his association with Gucci Mane's 1017 Records, but his continued involvement in street activities led led to federal charges that effectively ended his music career. Pooh Shiesty's case involved allegations of armed robbery, conspiracy, and weapons violations that federal prosecutors argued were part of a pattern of criminal behavior that continued even after his music career took off. The feds used surveillance footage, witness testimony, and his own social media posts to build a case that portrayed him as someone who used his rap career to facilitate and finance criminal activities. What made Pooh Shiesty's prosecution particularly damaging was how quickly it happened. He went from releasing hit singles and collaborating with major artists to accepting a federal plea deal in a matter of months. His case showed how federal prosecutors could move quickly when they had solid evidence, and how even successful artists with major label backing couldn't escape the consequences of street involvement. The plea agreement that sent Pooh Shiesty to federal prison for 63 months effectively ended his music career during what should have been his breakthrough period. His case serves as another reminder that street credibility and music success can create a toxic combination that attracts federal attention and results in lengthy prison sentences. Caswell Sr., who performed under the name Casanova, was building a successful rap career when he was swept up in a massive federal racketeering case targeting the Gorilla Stonebloods gang. The Brooklyn native had been making moves in the music industry, with collaborations with major artists and a growing fan base. But his alleged continued involvement with the gang led to federal charges that would derail his promising career. The Gorilla Stonebloods case was one of the largest gang prosecutions in New York history, with Casanova and 17 other defendants facing racketeering charges that could result in life sentences. Federal prosecutors argued that Casanova used his music career and social media presence to promote the gang's activities and coordinate criminal operations across multiple states. What made Casanova's case particularly significant was how prosecutors used his music videos, social media posts, and lyrics as evidence of his continued gang involvement. Scenes that looked like typical rap video content were presented to jurors as documentation of actual criminal activity. The prosecution argued that his artistic success was inseparable from his role in the gang's operations. Casanova ultimately accepted a plea deal that resulted in a 15-year federal prison sentence, effectively ending his music career and serving as another cautionary tale about the dangers of maintaining street affiliations while pursuing mainstream success. His case showed how federal RICO prosecutions could sweep up artists whose criminal associations went beyond their music careers. Frederick Duane Thomas Givens II, known as Fredo Bang, has faced ongoing legal challenges that have complicated his rise in the Louisiana rap scene. The Baton Rouge native built his career on authentic street narratives and his rivalry with NBA YoungBoy, but his alleged involvement in violent crimes has attracted the attention of both state and federal investigators. Fredo Bang's legal troubles have included charges related to attempted murder, weapons violations, and alleged gang activity that prosecutors argue continued even after his music career began gaining traction. His case represents another example of how street authenticity can become a liability when federal investigators start examining an artist's background and associations. The ongoing nature of Fredo Bang's legal challenges shows how some artists can maintain their careers while fighting serious charges, but at significant personal and professional cost. Court dates, legal fees, and the constant threat of imprisonment have become part of his reality as he continues to navigate both the music industry and the criminal justice system. These cases collectively illustrate a pattern that has become increasingly common in hip-hop. Talented young artists whose street credibility and authentic narratives attract both fan bases and federal investigators. The same qualities that make their music compelling: detailed knowledge of street life, connections to active criminal enterprises, willingness to discuss real events and real people, become the foundation for criminal prosecutions that can destroy their careers and their lives. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.